Hello Internet, I am Torstein from Cinema Terror, and today we'll be reviewing the Spanish crazy comedy horror film Witching and Bitching from director Alex de la Iglesia. Witching and Bitching, or The Witches of Zugarramurdi, as the directly translated English title is from the Spanish one, is one of his newer efforts, and it was released back in the last half of 2013. The story starts with a group of armed robbers, dressed up in street performers' costumes, robbing a pawn shop and driving away to the borders of France. Before they get to the classic country of red wine and cheese, they have to go through a dark small village called Zugarramurdi. This little village, with a name that I prefer to not try to pronounce out loud again, is a village that has a history of being a haven for witches, and when our gang of thieves arrive there, they find out just how magically bloodthirsty and demented witches can be. Witching and Bitching is an absurd, strange and fun ride of a film, where you never know where the story will go or what waits ahead of you in the very next scene. While it does start out with a bang by having our main guys rob the gold pawn store while being in costumes, giving way for some pretty cool visuals, it still does take its sweet time in getting to the witches. Oh, and before I go further with the review, let's just pause for a minute and watch this awesomeness. I started to lose a bit of patience after a while, and after finishing the film I don't see any reason for why the first 40 minutes couldn't have been reduced to nearly half, as the main characters aren't all that interesting, and there was just no need to spend that much time on the build-up, as the 115-minute running time felt a bit too much for this movie. The movie becomes a fun fantasy action film once the witches get their butt in motions. While not much backstory or explanation of the witches or the village is given, it is not needed either, as they do a good job in selling you on this world. The witches are all badass, with some cool powers to them, even if they are a bit inconsistent if you pay too much attention to details. It's cool to see the supernatural beings of witches being portrayed in a new light, as they're usually left behind by being portrayed more traditionally compared to other old monsters such as vampires. These witches are certainly not afraid to fight or get bloody. Their magic is displayed with a mixture of CGI and practical effects, and the filmmakers do a good job in blending them all together. Although there are some things every now and then that does stick out as below average CGI if you want to be a nitpicker. While the action is fun and thrilling, there are some problems with the characters. I didn't care much for any of them, and while some of the humor might be missing for me as I don't speak Spanish and therefore have to rely on the subtitle translation being great, I just found the so-called good guys to be a bit unlikable. There was also a change of heart, if you will, of the hot witch Eva that felt a bit out of place and only there because the plot needed it. That's not to say that any of the actors did a bad job though, it just felt like the focus was on everything else than the characters, even if the time spent on them would say otherwise. And again, something might have been lost in translation, but it's not like I'm not used to watching movies in other languages than English either. This is the first Alex de la Iglesia movie I've watched, and I wouldn't mind getting exposed to more of his films in the future. There is an almost childlike enthusiasm to the movie, and if I had to compare it to anything else, then I would have to say that this reminds me of something my fellow Norwegian Tommy Wirkola would have been proud of creating. Putting entertainment above logic, even in a movie about witches, is more apparent than ever in the final part of the film, when the Mother of Witches is introduced. And my god. If you can actually take the Mother of Tears from the last Three Mothers movie by Dario Argento and just go the exact opposite direction, then you have what Alex de la Iglesia delivers here. The overall look of the film is superb and shows that there are plenty of competence behind the camera. From what I've read, this is one of the higher budget productions that de la Iglesia has had so far, and judging him by the work here, I'd say that producers should feel safe by throwing more big budget productions his way. Witching and Bitching is a fun fantasy film that tries to thrill and entertain you for nearly 2 hours, and while it went on a bit longer than what it should have, ultimately it was an enjoyable experience. I do believe that I would have ranked this movie a bit higher if I had watched it at a younger age before my mind had been exposed to thousands and thousands of other movies. With that being said, Witching and Bitching is worth a purchase if you see it available, but not something you should go out of your way to get unless you already are a Alex de la Iglesia fan, in which case I'm sure you already have it. Witching and Bitching gets a 3.5 out of 5. So, have you seen Witching and Bitching? And what did you think of it? What should be the next De La Iglesia movie that I check out? Any recommendations would be appreciated. Oh, and just to end this video on an awesome note, let's just watch this scene one more time. Thank you.
¡Tú ni te muevas!